The biggest challenge is navigating the rapid and complex change that we're seeing in terms of the regulatory requirements, the liquidity fragmentation, the increasing complex market structure changes. Navigating those is probably the biggest challenge, and I think in terms of overcoming those, the key thing I think is to stay incredibly close with our clients, understanding what their needs are, really understanding what their problems are with navigating this change, and really helping them solve it. So working very much in partnership with our clients, I think, is the only way we can sort of work through that.
So for our members who run the wholesale venues for FX and FX derivatives markets, the big challenge for 2015 is twofold. One is that MiFID is going to be rolling out, and to ensure that the rule set that come around FX platforms and the liquidity definitions and the consequent obligations that come from that into the post-trade infrastructures of EMEA are proportionate and allow the business to work with sufficient liquidity and cross-border access that they're able to operate the platforms as they have built them to date.
And clearly, one of the biggest challenges is staying on top of the global regulatory picture. The landscape's changed significantly. We now have regulators on both sides of the Atlantic moving, and the rest of the world moving quickly as well. And in addition, we have an awful lot of penalties and a lot of behaviors that are starting to be picked up and actually prosecuted.
I think the FX market is always moving. It's a moving and demanding market, and you have to adapt to certain changes. The biggest issues at the moment that we have out of Switzerland with FX is, of course, the regulation stuff is much harder than it used to be in the past. That's surely one thing, and the low volatility was surely the second thing. But to get across that, we figured out over the past, I have to start from another point. If you would have run the business the same as we did 20 years ago, we would have not survived. So we always had to adapt new steps. And we started to focus about 3-4 years ago much more in emerging market currencies. And so we have a much wider spectrum of products or currency pairs to take advantage out of it. And that was actually what really helped us to get across that. And if you ask me what we have to change for the future to get across that, I do not know, because I do not know what the market is going to change. But I tell you, we will always have what I say. As long as I stay in the business, there's currencies around and there's volatility in the markets. Maybe not in the majors, maybe not in the Asian currency pairs, but maybe it's the South American currency pairs, maybe it's the Eastern Bloc currency pairs. There's always volatility around, somewhere, somehow.
Well, I think there's really two main challenges facing the market. Certainly increased regulation, increased costs of doing business. And that's really from the practical side, that's from the cost side, but also from the income side is finding a income generating platform. I think maybe this time round we may well see at last the recovery in the dollar, which may provide the obvious trade. That trade didn't really materialise over the last few years, hence the poor performance in many funds. We're still not going to get much for carry, which has been absent again, and that's certainly hurt the P&L. We may well see a pick up in that as well coming through in the next year or so. So certainly regulation, costs involved in picking that up, but also maybe some better opportunities on the trading front, as I say, through maybe some improvement in carry and maybe actually at last a trend in the market.